We are so excited to have a real life WNBA player in the studio. I usually like to claim that like I'm the athlete in the studio, and
not
now
today.
no, now we have an actual athlete in the studio. She's the newest member of the WNBA Seattle Storm, host of the Full Circle podcast, and an advocate for mental health as part of the Love Your Mind campaign. Please welcome Lexie Brown.
Yay! Yay! I know, Mike. We're
soft claps at 8 a.m.
Everybody, you better
Golf
clap at home,
clapping,
please.
Yeah.
We're so excited to have you today, Lexie.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming to New York.
I love New York. I will never turn down a trip to New York.
Oh, good. Yeah, I love that.
What do you typically like to do when you are in New York?
Shop.
Oh, hell
Which
yeah.
what I will be doing that later today.
Okay, love it. Are we
Yes.
like going for purses? Are we going for clothing, sunglasses?
I am actually planning on treating myself to a Van Cleef necklace.
Hell yes, as you should.
Celebrate my top 10 finish at Athletes Unlimited. So we're going to, yay.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so well
That's for
deserved.
myself.
Love it.
I
As you
love
should.
achieving things, and I'm like, you get a gift.
Yeah.
Even
Little treat. It's all about the little
a
treats.
Little treat.
You know what I
Yes.
mean?
No,
small,
For me, it's like
small
a little
victories.
little croissant usually, but
Yeah, no, literally, I'm like, you deserve a treat. Here's a coffee.
Can we start by talking about, obviously, you were recently traded to Seattle Storm.
Fun stuff.
I hear a little shake in the voice. That's okay. Well, that's actually why I want to ask about it, because what I find so interesting is that, like, teams do not care about who your local bestie is. They don't care about the parasocial relationship you developed with your
They
local
don't care
barista.
that you just got an apartment.
They do not care. They don't care. And
Yeah.
so I'm wondering, like, from your perspective as a player, with the uncertainty that kind of like looms over you, like, how do you deal with that?
So for me, this time around, so this is my third time getting traded. So after my rookie year, I knew that was going to happen. Like, my rookie year just was like, it just was not a good fit. And like, that just happens sometimes. My second trade, also kind of saw that one coming.
Yeah.
So this is kind of the first time I was genuinely like blindsided by the organization. It was weird. Like, I was getting like feeling like, I don't know. I'm like a very like
A little intuition.
everything's a sign to me.
Totally.
Like, literally everything on earth is a sign. Like, if I ordered a coffee this morning and I dropped it, I'd be like, you know what? I wasn't meant to have coffee this morning. I would not go buy another one. Like, I'm that type of person.
Okay.
So there were like signs leading up to the actual trade happening. So when it actually happened, when I got the call, when my general manager called me, I was on my way to play in a game in Nashville. I was literally in the parking garage, and I looked at her name pop up, and I was like, oh, no, this is not good news. So she called me. The conversation was 1 minute. That was it. And I kind of was like in shock about it. So I will take a little bit of responsibility for that lack of back and forth. Because I was like, wait, I have a game to get ready for. I'm late now. You just traded me. I don't really have time for this. So I kind of just compartmentalized it for a few hours. Thankfully, my mom and my aunts and my sister were in town that weekend.
Good.
Which was crazy because I would have probably crashed out if they weren't there with me dealing with that. But for me, like, I was annoyed, frustrated at first. But again, as I've gotten older, I've learned to separate the personal from the business side. Even though sometimes the business decisions are very personal, we still have to conduct ourselves professionally. And once I kind of made that distinction between business and personal digs at you, you just kind of have to like deal with it and move on. And you can choose to deal with it in a positive way or hold on to negativity, and then it would just spiral. So I just be like, okay, whatever. It's Seattle, here I come.
It sounds so easy when you put it like that, but like, how do you separate the business and the personal? Because I take everything personally.
Oh, so did I. I mean, I have a lot of conversations with my parents, and especially my mom. So she's like my rock when it comes to things like this. And when I was younger, you know, fresh out of college, you are one of the best players in the country. You're a draft pick, best nights of your life. You get thrown into a training camp, and now you've like been kicked down 10 levels because now you're a rookie, you're a baby again. So when you're navigating that, yes, you think everything is personal. Like, oh, they hate me. I'm young. They don't like me. I don't have anything in common with them, and all this other stuff. So really, it was just a maturity thing for me. And realizing that I wasn't the only one dealing with these issues in the league. Not saying like there are issues that need to be fixed. Again, it's a business. That's the business of sports. You get traded, you get cut, you get new teammates, and you have to figure it out. So once also I realized that like this is not my reality just specific to me. It's just something that we have to deal with, and the person who deals with it the best will have a longer career and a more successful one.
Yeah, that's a really smart approach, because I feel like it's very hard to do, but like it's necessary to kind of keep your career as long as you would like it to
Right.
go. Now, you also grew up with a dad, no big deal, D Brown, who played in the NBA and like for almost like a decade.
Yeah.
And went on to work as a coach and as exec. So did you ever feel any pressure because of his legacy with achieving your dreams of the WNBA and playing basketball at like an elite level?
Honestly, no. And I think it's because I was a girl.
Yeah.
So it's a little different. So I have a brother right now. He's 19. He's kind of feeling
Going
that a
through
little
it.
bit right
Wow.
now with the expectations. And, you know, there is like a stigma if like you come from, you know, a legacy, like you're spoiled, you don't want it, you don't work hard. So he's kind of dealing with that right now in college. My little baby brother. I know. And then for me, like, I don't know where the chip on my shoulder came from, but like it was massive.
Yeah,
And,
love that. Love that.
My dad never like pushed me into basketball. I kind of just fell into it. I really liked spending time with him in the gym. So it was kind of just our bonding time at the beginning. And then middle school, we were like, you're actually kind of good at this. Like,
You might have something
let's
in
lean
you.
into this a little bit more. So for us, our relationship has always been dad first, coach second, and he always has like taken the super back seat to my career.
Yeah.
Which sometimes I'm like, Dad, I wish you kind of stuck your chest out a little bit more about who you are. But that's just not his personality. That's not how he raised us. My mom's not that way. So I mean, it's a blessing that, you know, how humble he is and how sweet and quiet he is. But he is probably like the most basketball nerd genius that I know. So I have him right on my phone so I can just hit him up whenever I want and get some advice and just talk basketball with him.
I know. It
whenever.
must be nice to have that perspective. I want to talk about, you know, you're working with the Love Your Mind campaign to urge people to take care of their mental health. And you've actually talked about ritual and routine. So how much does routine specifically, I'm curious, play into your mental prep for a game and taking care of your own mental health? Like,
And are you superstitious?
Am I superstitious? No, I'm not superstitious.
Love it. Okay.
That campaign, that Love Your Mind campaign, like it like came to me very randomly and I like loved it immediately. I had no idea it was this like huge thing. I'm like, I get my makeup done, I get to be on camera, like I'm in, I can talk about mental health, like I'm in. So it was just something for me. I was in the middle of fighting my Crohn's disease that I didn't quite yet know what it was yet. So like that campaign just really hit home for me personally because I had really never tapped into you know, mental health with like a specialist or a therapist before until I started getting sick. You know, I usually just talk to my mom, I journal, I pray a lot. And, you know, when I got sick, that was like really the first time I really talked to a mental health specialist about what I was going through. So that campaign like was amazing for me. My rituals now, I really typically have game day rituals. Like my typical workout days are so random now because I'm busy, which is good. So I just have to try and get a workout in every day, whether that's bright and early in the morning or later at night. And on game days, I guess my superstition is I only eat breakfast on game days.
Okay.
So if we have shoot around and it's like 1 p.m., like I'm going to find a way to eat breakfast.
Yeah.
So that might be my one superstition. I can take a nap. And I don't listen to rap music that much anymore.
oh,
I've like kind
interesting.
of removed rap
Why is
slowly.
that?
It's like phasing out because it doesn't make me happy.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
fair.
yeah, yeah.
Like it's very like aggressive and no judgment to these artists or anybody that likes rap music, but it was like the last few months I've kind of just like stopped listening to it.
Yeah, I feel like the only rap that I listen to is like female rappers.
Yeah.
Like,
And they're even
yeah.
their lyrics are a
yeah.
little
Yeah.
Looking at you, Meg.
yeah.
Love
But
her, though.
I mean Lotto, Meg, like those are some of my favorite artists, but like Drake is my person. Like
Okay.
he's always been one of my favorites since high school. But yeah, I'm tapping into like my pop princess.
I was gonna ask what you swapped for
you know,
instead.
Tate McRae is one of my faves.
the best.
I love her. Who else I've been listening to? I always listen to NSYNC, Backstreet Boys. I just went
Okay,
to a
little
Justin
throwback
Timberlake
action.
concert recently.
Wait, really?
In Palm Springs.
Oh
How
my
was
God,
that?
It was
it great?
amazing.
Really?
I
You
had
still
so
got
much
it?
fun.
I feel like he's like a performer.
Oh, it was great. He
Yeah.
was dancing. He's really short though.
Oh yeah.
He's short.
Yeah.
He
Well, he
presents.
looked short. I mean, it was a big stage, I guess, but like he came out and I was like, wait, he's kind of little.
Short
He
king.
presents tall to me. I'm surprised to
Yeah.
hear that.
That's the thing about like famous people. It's kind of nice to like not ever meet them because I'm like, I always think like you're like 10 feet tall and I
Yep.
meet you and I'm like,
Hello.
And you're like, huh.
I met a
okay.
Backstreet Boy at a Rams game.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and they have their residency coming up in Vegas, so I'm going.
Obviously.
So yeah, I grew up listening to pop music, a lot of Christian music. I kind of transitioned more into like rap music, like in college. But like now, I'm kind of like
We're going back to the roots.
We're going back to the roots,
Yeah.
and I'm happier.
Yeah.
A happier human being, I
It's
think,
better that
because
way.
of it. Yeah.
I'm actually sorry. Before
go ahead.
I'm curious about, because you were talking about how you hadn't really talked to a mental health specialist until you got diagnosed with Crohn's, or you were going through that experience. How does like when you're going through a physical illness, like how does that also present like challenges to your mental health? Like what was that like for you?
I think the hardest thing for me, especially being an athlete, is that you cannot outwardly see Crohn's disease.
Yeah.
Totally.
So I was still showing up to practices, feeling really bad when I was playing. And then when I decided to sit the first season, when I first got diagnosed, I couldn't get out of bed. So like no one saw me for like a month. So then rumors started circulating and swirling around, but there was really nothing I could say because I had no idea what was going on.
Right.
So I didn't get diagnosed with my Crohn's disease until like 6 months after I started showing my symptoms. So I'm sitting in my bed reading comments and tweets about what's wrong with Lexie, and I'm like, I wish I could tell y'all, but I literally have no information for y'all. I'm just literally in bed, just in physical pain and tired all the time. So that was my first season. And then this past season, you know, I played, I think, 14 games, and my body I played Athletes Unlimited. My body kind of crashed out at the end of that. I got it back together for training camp, started the season, and then I just started, you know, crashing out again. And you don't look sick.
Right.
So I was really skinny, but like everyone was like, you look good.
You're
like,
snatched,
you look
what?
good. And I
Yeah.
was like, but I feel terrible.
Yeah.
But I think for me, the hardest thing was deciding to like stop playing, like just sit down. And that was the biggest conversations I had with our mental health specialist was, how do I communicate this without sounding like a quitter? How do I communicate this without sounding like I don't care about the team? And she literally was just like, who cares how they feel? This is your body. This is your life. This is your career. You need to prioritize yourself.
I also imagine you had to have conversations with yourself because you've been playing for so long that like, how
mean,
am I
you
going to step away?
You get trained, like if it ain't broke, if it's not
Right.
bleeding, keep going.
Yep.
Yeah.
So for me, I mean, I was like, I'm good and I can get up. Like I can get up and down the court. I can still get through these workouts. I can finish a game, but I wasn't playing at my highest level, and it was showing. And that started to bother me,
Right.
and it started to people to formulate opinions about me as a player,
Right.
as a teammate, as a person. So when I had to make that decision that I just needed to just stop everything. Because even when I first got sick, I never really stopped working out. Like I was actively trying to get back and finish the season. And I feel like in hindsight, if I had just shut everything down last year, like they told me to, then I probably could have finished the season this past year. But that's not what happened. I finally sat down, got healthy, feel better, and now I feel amazing now.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
This is like reminding me a lot of when I was in college. I had a back injury, so something you can't see either.
In
And
college, they did not
No.
care. In college, ooh, no.
and a lot of it was like, well, it's on your pain tolerance. So if you can do it, it's like up to you. And
Exactly.
it's almost
like
worse that
gaslight
way
you
because they
into-
put the ball in
yes.
your court. And as an athlete, I'm sure you're
see.
used to pushing yourself through that
Yep.
pain and used to kind of pushing your boundaries and all of that. So how do you balance the aspect of, okay, I'm going to push myself and I'm going to try my hardest versus, okay, I need to listen to my body and like sit this one out and not feel guilty about it.
I think now I'm 30 now. This is going to be my 8th year in the W. Like this is probably the first year that I've been like, you know, an off day is not going to kill me. There's probably someone working really hard today, but I worked really hard yesterday and I'm going to work really hard tomorrow. So
Right.
this day is not going to be the end of the world. And I had to train my mind that way. And I will say, because I got sick, like that's really the only reason why my mentality changed is listening to your body. Because, I mean, knock on wood, I've never had any major injuries or anything in my life. I never had a surgery, nothing. So at 28, I'm like, what is going on? Body, I've taken care of you. I love you.
Yeah.
We work out every day.
We're
We
best
eat
friends.
right.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Why are you doing this to
Why are you
me?
giving up on me?
Why are you betraying me?
Yeah.
So now I think I just love my body more, the way it looks, the way it feels. And if I'm tired today, I will just rest or I'll go on a walk or something. But now it's like, it's not the end of the world if I don't. Like today, where it's 8 a.m., part of me wanted to get up early and work out before I came here.
Right.
But I was like, I just finished a 5-week season in Nashville. I had a game last night or 2 days ago. I'm going to chill.
Give myself
I'm going
a
to
little
chill.
sleep.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah, it's like that perspective shift that, do you feel like it almost has made you mentally stronger
Oh,
in ways?
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's changed my entire perspective of being a professional athlete, which is why doing this Love Your Mind campaign before I had this like life-altering shift in my mentality was so like amazing to me. And the fact that I can still keep talking about this campaign and what Ad Council is doing about mental health and involving athletes, like I think it was just the biggest blessing in the world for me.
Yeah, it's like a blessing in disguise.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, of course.
On your podcast, you kind of recently, when I think it was Manifest That Shit, that was the title. Love
Yeah, I
that.
came up with that one.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes, you did.
Well, so on that podcast, you kind of talk about the trade, and you talk about seeing discourse about your health online post trade. When you see those conversations happening about you, in those conversations that you're not even involved with, like how do you deal with that?
So the biggest thing I've done when it comes to social media is I locked my Twitter up, and Twitter was one of like my bigger platforms as far as engagement, because I'm funny, I think.
Because I'm a
I'm
comedian, I'd say.
funny. I love memes, like all that kind of stuff. It's how I got on the Gills Arena podcast, was me on Twitter and stuff like that. So I had to lock it because people just had too much access to things that I was saying and inserting their opinions on me. Like when I go on Twitter, like I'm not here, I don't start conversations on Twitter. This is like what I'm saying, and maybe I'll respond. I try to respond more to positive comments now because I feel like a fan did bring this up. They're like, all you guys do is talk about the negative comments. Y'all never respond to your real fans. I'm like, you're absolutely right, and we need to actually do better with that. But sometimes, like, you respond to somebody and then it gets a little weird. Right. So it's like, so I'm not going to respond to anybody. But for me, it was just weird because there's never really been a professional WNBA player with an autoimmune disease before.
Right.
Or if there was one, she didn't know, or she didn't want to talk about it because it's very hard to deal with and explain to people, which is why I decided to be so vocal about it, because I was like, there's nobody else that I've ever seen in the WNBA that has had an autoimmune disease before. So that's why I decided to do that. The discourse about my sickness has just been strange. It was a little weirder than I was expecting it to be. I got a ton of support, obviously, but I got a lot more pushback than I thought I was for having an illness. And I don't want anybody to be spoken about negatively, but I know there's a ton of players who don't finish seasons, who typically are injured a lot during the season, and there's no conversation surrounding are they going to be ready to play? Are they going to be good enough to play? Are they going to be able to finish a season? When I went 6 straight years of never missing a game, pretty much. Just because I wasn't on the court doesn't mean I was available. I just wasn't getting any minutes. Right. So, it's been 6 years of very consistent availability on my end.
Right.
I get hit with this illness and everyone's just like, oh, well, she can't stay healthy. And I'm like, what are we talking about?
Right.
And now I go play 5 weeks at Athletes Unlimited looking really good, and no one has anything to say about that. And I'm just like, well, of course not. I wasn't expecting y'all to. But it's like, it's just funny, like just the back and forth, but why people are so comfortable speaking on someone else's health situation. I'm just like, but you see it with the NBA as well. Everyone always is talking about injuries and and they can't do this. But you don't know like how hard it is to like maintain an injury and heal from an injury and come back from injury and perform at a high level. So when it comes to those conversations, I try to like stay out of them and just be as empathetic and understanding as I can, because I truly don't believe that people show up to basketball games and practices and like just I don't care about this.
Right.
Like I really we work too hard our entire lives to feel that way.
Yeah. And do you feel like this is kind of a good segue, because it reminds me of what LeBron was saying about just kind of the negativity in the NBA media? He was like, why would you want to be the face of the league when all the people that cover the game talk like badly about everybody on a day-to-day basis? And he said it was like weird energy. So obviously the WNBA is no stranger to the negative comments.
Right.
Like, how do you like flip the script for yourself personally when you're seeing those negative comments and try to, whether you just ignore them or turn them into a positive aspect?
I mean, yeah, I think you have to ignore it, which is easier said than done. I delete Twitter off my phone during the season, so I don't even have it.
Protect your peace.
Yeah, I mean, that's where most of the negative stuff is on Twitter. I mean, you have the superstars who get it on all their platforms. Nobody deserves that, period. But for me, like, I'm lucky enough that the majority of the negativity I face is on one singular platform and that I can eliminate because I don't even make money on Twitter anymore. I literally use Twitter for fun. So it's like, you're choosing to see all of these things that people are writing. People search their names. Like, I stopped doing that.
Yep.
It's over. Like, so when I'm playing in the season, I have no idea what anybody is saying about me, about my team, nothing, because I don't care. But you bring these same tweets. They're putting tweets on First Take and stuff now. Like,
you can't escape it.
You can't escape it. And I agree with LeBron. It's like, why is everyone so negative all the time? Like, basketball is a beautiful game, and it's so easy to embrace and enjoy like the play that's going on right now, but everyone is choosing to just be so negative all the time. But like, basketball is fun. It's a game, and I think everybody has forgotten that.
We've lost the plot.
We've lost the plot completely, and the fact that we have all made it to the highest level of our favorite sport. Like, for us, this is the fun part.
Yep.
The hardest work is over. Like, we sacrificed for years and years to get to this point, to have fun and enjoy our lives and play the game that we love. And it's just turned into this like really nasty thing.
Yeah,
so
always trying to like nitpick it apart.
Yeah, and then I think even with Gil, like on our show, like, yeah, we joke and we dig, but like, we're all players and former players at the end of the day. And Gil always makes the best point. He's like, don't tell me why you don't like this player. Tell me why you love this one.
Great.
Simple.
Great. Yeah.
And then there's a line between constructive criticism and personal attacks.
Right.
Completely.
That's being blurred.
Yep.
So I think that now that LeBron has said it, it kind of got everybody kind of like, oh, okay, maybe we need to tighten up a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he said it. And I mean, LeBron is a very smart man. I think he's probably been feeling this way. He's been the face of the NBA for 20 years. I think he just was waiting for the perfect moment to like mention it without people being like, why would, like, you just randomly brought that up. But Anthony Edwards said, I don't want to be the face. Why would I want to be the face?
Yeah.
And then they ask him about it. Perfect opportunity for him to speak up like he always does. And I think hopefully we'll see a positive shift in the dialogue surrounding sports. That's what I did my podcast for. I wanted to be a more positive coverage of women's basketball. So it's just been a lot of fun being able to be a part of hopefully the positive change.
Yeah, we need some positivity. These
listen
days.
to more
Come
pop
on.
music, everybody.
That's the secret. Okay, so we are going to do some fun questions to finish it off. Kind of like quickly, but you take your time with your answers.
Okay.
Which WNBA player has the best tunnel fits?
Ooh, best tunnel fits.
And you're allowed to say yourself.
I do like my tunnel fits. I'm gonna have to go with one of my best friends, Diamond DeShields.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
She pushes the envelope a lot. She changes her hair up a lot.
Love it.
Her accessories are cool. So she was in Chicago. Now she's playing in Connecticut. So I'm interested to see if she's gonna bring the same energy in Connecticut.
Right. Different
place.
vibes.
Yeah.
Chicago versus Connecticut.
So,
Is Connecticut ready? That is the question.
Is Connecticut ready? They better be. So yeah, Diamond DeShields, I would say.
Okay, good one.
Okay. Who is your biggest op?
Biggest op.
AKA, who do you like to compete the most against?
It was Diana Taurasi because it's always fun.
Yeah.
But she's gone now.
She's a goat.
Retired, guys. Just retired. Like, she's still here with us. Playing against Kelsey Mitchell is always a fun little challenge because we've been playing against each other since college, and she's probably one of the best guards in the league, I think. Very underrated. She finally was getting a lot of her flowers when she teamed up with Caitlin Clark when they drafted her. So I really love playing against her. She challenges me. And it's always fun.
And then there's like, the collegiate rivalry.
I love that.
The roots.
Yeah. Last one. If you could pick any celeb to own the team you play for.
Rihanna.
Boom.
Easy.
Boom.
Yeah,
Not
I read
even
that
a
earlier.
thought.
I said, I already know.
Yeah.
I already know that
Honestly,
answer.
such a good one.
I love
That'd be
her.
a great crossover.
I need her to tap into sports. She, she loves her son LeBron James.
Yes.
But we need her to come to the
Come
WNBA
give,
side.
Yeah, come give the lady some love.
That's
I
a
mean,
good
obviously
answer.
she's like
Oh my
conquered
gosh.
makeup in a minute.
And music. Hello.
Literally.
Yeah, and well, obviously
Come
that's
back, Rihanna, please.
Yeah, please. We need
pop
Society
music.
would heal. Yes.
Sis, you would heal the world, Rihanna, with a new album. Do you
This
understand?
is our personal plea.
Well, Lexie, can you please tell our audience where they can keep up with you on Instagram and a little bit more about the Love Your Mind campaign?
Yeah, so Instagram is just my name, Lexie Brown. TikTok the same. What else do I have?
Podcast.
My podcast, Full Circle Podcast. You can find it on all platforms where you find podcasts. And yeah, loveyourmindtoday.org to seek any help or resources you need, because mental health is important, and love yourself and take care of your body and your mind.